Okay, Mr. Smith.
All right, our next presentation, class of 2021 end of year activities. And at this time, I'll turn it over to Mr. Rice.
Thank you, Mr. Smith and members of the school board. I think it was about 11 months ago, I was trapped in my basement, and we had a Zoom board meeting where we talked about how we were going to wrap up the 2020 year in the middle of a pandemic, and we were talking about things like graduation, and senior locker clean out, and all those sorts of things. So obviously, as a world, we're in a little bit of a better place with everything that's going on in the pandemic, but we did think it was worthy of some of your time to hear about what our plans are for wrapping up this school year. So we have some really exciting news to share tonight, some things that I think our community and our students and our parents are going to be very, very excited about. And I'd like to start with sort of the culminating event for a district every year is graduation. So I know it's a little bit out of order there because that order is in terms of a timeline. But I'd like to talk to you just a little bit about graduation. We're excited to announce tonight that we will have, as traditional as possible, a graduation at Cintas Center. We will have to, because of seat capacity, have split sessions. So we will actually offer essentially 2 commencement ceremonies by alphabet, one being at 10 a.m. and one being at 1 p.m. on the 29th of May. So we are already scheduled for the 29th of May. We were very lucky to be able to have that slot before our 1 p.m. so we could keep all of us kind of sane on one day with one commencement. So, this is we'll have some questions to answer about this. Families that have multiple last names, cousins, do we make grandma come down more than once, those sorts of things. We're going to work through all of that. We'll problem solve to pick which one of the 2 sessions makes the most sense for them. Just some things just logistically, so you hear from me. There is a seat capacity with all of our venues, with all of our activities. And we go back, and you'll hear me say this a couple of times, we go back to what the experts tell us, what the communities or counties' health departments tell us. So right now in the state of Ohio, for indoor facilities, there's a 25% occupancy max. So for Cintas right now, and if you visualize where we were with previous graduations with the black curtain, it covers many of those seats. Those seats do not count towards the capacity. So seating capacity at Cintas is around 1,500, almost 1,600 people. So we anticipate with 2 split sessions that we'll be able to offer our families 4 tickets. So that is a change from what we've done before. Normally we don't have a ticket capacity. Anybody that wants to come can come. So we will work with Cintas on ticketing 4 per family for each of those 2 sessions. So that will be a little bit of a change. Other things that will just feel different, we cannot have live music being played during the ceremony. So even though we have wonderful performing arts programs and we've rotated between the orchestra and the band, and we've always had some of our senior choir members and choraleer members sing, those will not be possible this year. So we'll work with Cintas on whether it's a recorded piece of our own music or a canned piece of music that they will supply there. And I know Miss Lane really wants the song Friends played, so we'll work on getting that for her as well. We are allowed soloists, so I'd anticipate we'll have a soloist for the national anthem and the alma mater, those sorts of things. So that pretty much concludes the portion about graduation. I think it probably best for all of us, we can just take questions as we go, if that's okay. Since
of course. Mm-hmm. That's great.
There's 4 or 5
Any questions about graduation?
Will there be like a streaming option or something? So if we only have 4 tickets, that the rest of students' families can watch somewhere?
Yeah, Cintas 2 years ago started offering a streaming service that we've purchased every year, and we'll advertise that like we have in previous years, where they can, from the comforts of their own home. And it's been awesome for us because we've heard from families that have, grandma out in California, they're able to just pick it up and watch it live. So we'll continue that as well.
Thank you.
Mr. Birding?
Yes, Mr. Begley, question?
Yes. Mr. Rice, I know this is probably in line with the government's recommendations and guidelines for graduation. Do we anticipate those possibly being updated between now and May 29th? That might allow for more people within the arena, or changes to the music that you mentioned?
Yes, and my favorite words nowadays are subject to change, because these things change not by the day, but by the minute. And Cintas has been adamant throughout that if there is an increase in capacity, they will honor that increased capacity. So, if we were to offer 4 tickets per family and then capacity was increased where we could offer an additional ticket per family, Cintas would work with us in issuing more tickets.
Okay, Mr. Bagley?
Yes, that's fine, thank you.
Okay. Any other questions or comments about graduation?
No
I'm excited
questions.
for it.
Oh,
I'm excited for it.
That's what I was going to say. I'm glad that it's getting back to somewhat normalcy to get the families involved and the tickets. And if they do extend the 25%, then you could always add another ticket to that, maybe 5 or 6 or whatever. So I think the kids are going to really love it.
Yeah, I'm excited for it as well.
It's good stuff.
It did not feel like a normal conclusion to last year without being able to stand in front of that class one last time. So
Yeah.
extremely excited about that. One of the things that we did last year, if you remember back, we did almost like individual graduations at the football stadium. And we heard from many of our parents how intimate that felt. And, they all got their names read, but they also had time just to be with the family, be with their family, to take their time and take pictures at different points of the stadium. And Mr. Smith and I, as we spent a lot of time together that week, we talked about how cool that was, and we felt we had to replicate that in some manner for the foreseeable future, maybe forever, maybe it's a new tradition. So what we've decided to do is we worked with the athletic department. We're going to open the stadium up on the 26th and 27th for the hours between 6 and 9 p.m., so that dusk time, which makes for some beautiful pictures in the football stadium. And we're going to have just different backdrops that folks can come and take pictures. It'll be open access. They won't have to sign up like they've had to before in Sign Up Genius. We'll simply be there. So we'll have like the student section's tribe banner up so they can take a picture one last time in the student section. We'll have the victory bell there so they can take some pictures there. We'll have the school board lit up with, congratulations, class of 2021. So just a photo op. If you can make it, you can make it. If you can't, you can't. If the weather stinks, we'll hope for that second day, just those sorts of things. So again, we just anticipated that a lot of our families, how much they liked it last year and the positive feedback that we received, would want that again this year. So we're excited to be able to offer that. Any questions over that?
Comment again. I talked to Mr. Smith, and he was saying the same thing that you did, Mr. Rice, that the families thought it was intimate, it was a place for them to go that has not done before, and as COVID tries to shut us down, you guys, all of the administration has done a great job with working around it, doing something that's memorial for the students and their families, and that's another, that photo ops is a good idea, and I like the idea of keeping it going if we can.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Senior Scholarship Night, that's always a big deal in our district and for our kids. We give away a ton of money. It's fun because we get to give away other people's money, in excess of $4 to $5 million. The local Rotarians and Kiwanis clubs and all these different organizations, Fairfield Foundation, they give away tons and tons of money. So we kind of put our heads around, like, how do we do this? Because, again, we're limited to that 25% capacity. So what we've decided to do for this event is we're going to switch it to the arena because the capacity is so much greater. So we'll be able to do it in one night. We talked about kicking around the idea of doing it over multiple nights or split sessions. But for some of our presenters that don't work in education, that can be taxing on their schedules. So it will allow us to better socially distance. 2 years ago, pre-COVID, we started a new tradition, a one-year tradition, where we did a dinner, and some of you were there, a dinner in recognition for our AP scholars. Our AP scholars are noted for taking three or more AP classes and scoring threes on at least 3 AP classes. So we made a big stink of them. We had a nice formal dinner. We also recognized our top 15. Well, in the COVID world, hosting a dinner, I can tell you the amount of things that you have to do with the health department. We're not going to host a dinner this year. But we are going to do like a little punch and cookies before the senior recognition, senior scholarship night for those guys. So a little bit of like punch and cookies for an hour. Then we'll all transition into the arena where we'll have our traditional scholarship night. So we're excited about that, as that is a highlight. It's always fun at the end of the night. Traditionally, we've always put all of the kids that have been awarded any sort of scholarship on the stage, and it's always kind of like, wow, that's like 200 kids up there that are getting money to continue their education. So we'll be able to do that in some capacity in the arena. Are there any questions over that?
No, thank you.
So the last one, probably the one that the community, next to graduation, the community is most excited about or nervous about, I should say, is prom. And I can't tell you how many emails and phone calls we've had over the last 2 months about this subject. And just speaking very frankly, I would have never guessed 2 months ago that we'd be in a situation where we're allowed to dance. 2 weeks ago, I would have never guessed that with the conversations that we were having with the health department. And I'm going to take this time now to pass out the guidelines that we've been given by the Butler County General Health District, because these are our guiding principles for everything that we do for prom. The battle that I face as a building principal a lot of times is there's a perception like that we're making the rules on these sorts of things, and I think Mr. Smith has done an excellent job over the last 14 months of we are going to do what the leading health officials and the government officials tell us to do. So this is their set of guidelines, so I wanted to pass those out as we go over kind of what we envision for prom. I'll let those go around before I begin. So literally, up until this week, we didn't anticipate being able to offer what we consider a traditional dance. We were walking down a path or moving in a direction of offering some sort of like formal dinner for our students in a seated setting, plated dinner, so they weren't going up to a buffet. And we kept hearing things about, well, the governor said we can have prom, but we didn't know what they meant by definition of prom. So we were desperately waiting for these guidelines, and we were excited when we finally did receive these guidelines earlier this week. A lot of what we can say about prom is our intentions are in the very minor planning stages, the very beginning planning stages. What we intend to do is follow these guidelines. What we intend to do is host a traditional prom, as much as it can be traditional in the COVID world, here at the Fairfield High School Arena. We have worked with numerous venues on being able to offer it in a different setting, and I understand from a student's perspective why they want to go to a nice, fancy venue. But we spent weeks with several different locations, and we just can't get there to be able to offer the experience that our students want in a safe manner that meets the guidelines of both Butler County's health department and other counties' health departments, because some venues are in Warren County, some venues are in Hamilton County. So we came kind of full circle and just today landed on, you know what, we're probably going to have to do it here at the arena. And I know for some of our students, they'll be disappointed in that because they think that's just like homecoming and it's not special, but we're going to try to make it as special as absolutely possible. There is a capacity with prom, just like anything else, for indoor venues. We're still working to figure out what that capacity number is. We don't have that set yet. What I anticipate is that this prom will be for seniors only. Seniors only that can bring a guest from inside of Fairfield to the dance. So if you're a senior and you've been dating a junior this year and you want to bring that junior, they would be able to come as your guest. I do not anticipate outside guests. I say seniors only because we're probably looking at a capacity of 500-ish. I don't know that number yet. So I really want to focus on the seniors. The seniors missed out on junior senior prom last year. They missed out on homecoming. This is their last chance for a high school dance. I think we're all getting to a place and getting comfortable where we recognize next year we'll probably be able to offer some sort of a homecoming, some sort of a prom for our juniors, so they'll have that experience next year. This is our last chance with our seniors, so I want to focus on those guys. So lower numbers, we are allowed to dance. A lot of kids want to know, can we dance? Yes, you can dance. We'll have our masks on. We'll have to wear our masks, but we're all pretty much programmed to do that, so I don't anticipate that being an issue. We do not intend to offer a post-prom this year. Kind of the way I describe that is, the pendulum is swinging back, but we're not all the way back. So we have to take some baby steps and be able to ensure that we're doing all of these things safely and within the guidelines of the health department. But we're going to have the after-prom folks a part of this prom. So what we talked about is using a separate space in the building to maybe have some games that post-prom would normally have for those kids that maybe, I don't want to go to a dance, I don't want to dance, but maybe they would be interested in doing that. Because we do have kids that don't go to the dance but go to after-prom. After-prom would still have the ability to do all their raffles and their giveaways and those sorts of things during that dancing time. So we're excited about being able to offer that partnership. I know I just don't have a lot of the answers right now. I don't have a lot of the answers on the numbers. We're going to work through that over the next couple of days. Like I say, literally it was about 2:45 today where we were like, okay, we just have to make a decision. It's going to be in the arena after our last kind of hope for a prom elsewhere kind of fell through. So a lot to be determined with the prom, but I think the kids want to hear this. We are anticipating a senior-only prom where they can dance because they really want to dance. So if there's any questions about prom that I can answer, I'd be glad to do so.
Comments, questions?
Oh, I think it's fantastic that you're finding a way to make this happen. I think the kids will absolutely love it, even with the restrictions. I think they're okay with the mask. I think it's groundbreaking, so I'm very happy that you guys are doing this, moving forward with it. A little bit of normalcy.
Comments?
Yeah. Footloose. You can dance.
There you go.
That's your theme song.
Let's go.
I'm excited again. And your focus on the seniors is terrific. They all want to go if they can, but I think you're, again, doing an outstanding job with getting it done, working with what you have to make it happen for them. So kudos to you for that, Mr. Rice. Excellent.
Mr. Begley, any comments?
It sounds great. Thank you, Mr. Rice.
Yeah, thank you so much for your update. I know you've been working tirelessly on this. I've been in communications with Mr. Smith, and I'm asking about this, and he said that you've been almost running around like a chicken with your head cut off trying to get things together for our seniors, and so thank you very much for all your efforts. I know Mr. Smith worked with you as well, so anything you want to add, Mr. Smith? To
Yeah, I do. I would like to just publicly thank Mr. Rice and Mr. Crapo, and like you said, it hasn't been easy, but I just appreciate everyone's flexibility. It's an emotional topic, especially for our seniors, and so I'm just really thrilled that we're able to have a prom for our kids, and as Mr. Rice alluded to at the beginning, we will follow the guidelines, and that's what we've done since the very beginning. We followed the guidelines, and we're staying in that lane as we continue to have these conversations about graduation and prom and other end-of-the-year activities. So thank you to Mr. Rice and his staff and Mr. Crapo, everyone working together. It truly was a group effort, so very, very exciting.
Great. Well, you've come with great news tonight, so thank you for sharing. I'm sure everyone that sees this recording will be happy to hear those details. And of course, I'm sure you're sending that out on Remind and what have you as well. So I'm sure they'll probably get it before Bob can get this posted on the internet. So again, thanks for joining us tonight, and thank you for all your efforts.
My pleasure. Thank you for having me.
All right.